Hello and welcome to my review of the Space Marine Terminator squad from the Leviathan box set for Warhammer 40,000 from Games Workshop. Now, this unit is included in the box set, and the box set would normally cost you £150. I think that when they release this set, probably in an upgraded kind of multi-part, multi-pose kit with the heavy flamer and maybe a cyclone missile launcher, going to be about £40 to £45. I know a lot of people have been interested in this unit of these particular sculpts in the kit more than any others because they are bigger, beefier Terminators than their sort of 9th edition counterparts. Games Workshop have gone on record to now say that, you know, you've got Primaris in them as well now. So these are a big step forward to getting things kind of more in scale. They're certainly in scale compared to sort of normal Primaris now. You know, Terminators have been, you know, smaller than Primaris for quite some time, so it's great that we've got some larger sort of armour that's as in scale as, say, like the Terminators with the Horus Heresy normal Legion Space Marines. So the format of this review, as always, is I'll look at the models individually and then we'll go through some spare parts, which there's only one. I'll do some size comparisons, and then I'll go through all of the rules for the Terminators with their new data sheet for 10th edition. So first things first then, let's have a look at these models and the detail. These are probably one of the most interesting units for me, models for me in the kit, along with a couple of the Tyranid models. I absolutely love Terminators. I think I've got about 150, probably more. So I've always liked Terminators. I remember as a kid saving up sort of £15 to buy a unit of 5. I thought that they were very expensive for just 5 models. They weren't that poseable. They were in a very static pose with their legs just apart and not really moving forward or anything. Then 2004, we were very lucky. We got a big upgrade to those in the multi-part kind of multi-pose kits back then, which I'll show you a comparison with. And then now, you know, 19 years later, almost 2 decades later, we've got these. In a way, you know, Primaris has been good because it's been a catalyst to create these larger Space Marines, but my question is what next? I mean, you can only go so far in this size creep. This is kind of like the end of the line, isn't it? I can't see slightly larger Terminators or slightly larger Space Marines in another 20 years, but who knows? Let's have a look at the minis before I go off on a big ramble. So first things first, let's start off with the Terminator Sergeant. I think it's a fine model, just classic, kind of aiming with the Stormbolter there with his power sword, his right knee kind of Crux Terminatus. Well, that's the Crux Terminatus, but the actual sort of skull symbol is longer than the others, if any others have them on their knees. He's got a different purity seal hanging off of him as well, but that's about it. That's about the differences. You know, he's got this power sword. It's got a little, you know, engraving there. The only difference is, of course, I've given mine a helmet. This is the only spare part you get for the Terminators, and this is a unhelmeted head. So he's still got the front part to his helmet, but he hasn't got anything on the top there, which, yeah, it's odd. I mean, I guess this is him without his helmet on, but I don't see how he could have this on and the helmet. It is a bit, yeah, it's a bit odd, considering we normally just see Terminators with the helmet on, or like with the captain with the helmet off. So that's the Sergeant. Obviously he's got this like a little bit of a scenic base, bit of a tactical rock there that just rises him ever so slightly above the others. The others are in alright poses too, and they have a little bit of scenic base quality, I guess. This one is quite a cool pose, definitely sort of trudging forward. The power fists are are interesting, the way they've gone for these. They've articulated the fingers very well, and then they've just added this like very smooth piece over the top, whereas the previous plastic minis, that was all one piece. And they articulated, you know, and they articulated like the studs and the fingers and the knuckles. You could see that a bit better than these. But the Stormbolters are looking incredible, better than they ever have. You've got the dual magazines now, which is perfect. I'm not a big fan of Stormbolters without the dual magazines. We've seen them in many video games and things, and that is the best way to do them. Then you've got this one, which for some reason I've just forgotten that I haven't drilled out the holes, so I'll be doing that very soon. But this Terminator is walking forward very slowly but surely. That's quite a cool pose. Got purity seal there. They look fantastic, these ones. You got this one in a bit of an action pose, sort of maybe moving around a corner or just moving slowly and firing as they do. Got his fist clenched, purity seal there as well. Yeah, looks great. All of these I think have got fantastic poses. And then finally you've got the assault cannon Terminator. I'm not a massive fan of the assault cannon, what they've done with it compared to the old one. It does look a little bit different, but overall this is still fine. And yeah, notice that I haven't, and if you notice there's something on the bases that will mirror kind of what's going on with the model. Like obviously this one has got some empty shell casings there. Although they're not posable, you know, they are plugs and sockets, so you can either clip the plugs off and then put the head in and maybe tilt the head a different way. You could put the assault cannon further down, you could put the left arm up a bit. So if you were to get a second pack, you could manipulate the arms and the heads a little bit, but of course, like lots of modern kits, you're not going to be able to do anything with the legs and the hips and the chest. So there is that. One thing to note is the shoulder pauldrons are actually kind of moulded as part of the arm, so there is that. And I've already showed you the spare part, just the helmetless head, so we might as well go into the size comparisons. Straight up, I need to show you them compared to the Terminator Captain right here. Could you proxy the Terminator Captain as a sergeant? Possibly. I would see no reason why you wouldn't be able to, if you wanted to just change the look, and you weren't going to use the Terminator Captain as your main HQ. But as you'll notice from the sergeant to the Captain, there is a size difference. The base for the Captain is 50mm compared to the 40mm, and also he's on quite a large scenic base. But if we move the sergeant up to the where the Captain's feet start, then you'll see they're the same size. Just the Captain's armour is a little bit more fancy. He's got these dual shields. He's got a bigger piece of purity seal. He's got an even longer skull arrow there, and he's got flared shoulder pauldrons too, and a little icon at the top. I'm not quite sure whether that's the Iron Halo. I don't think it is. I think it's more built in, isn't it? But there we go. So I just wanted to show you a comparison with the Terminators with the Captain, and then also the Librarian. I haven't built the other HQs and the Infernus Marines yet, but you'll see comparisons of these Terminators in their reviews. So compared to the Librarian, essentially they're the same size, like they are. So he will go quite well with them. You might even be able to hide him if you don't paint him a bright coloured blue. I'm not sure. And then another comparison is just with the Ballistus Dreadnought, which I've just built, and yeah, as you can see, they go quite well together, I guess. The Dreadnought is huge, but these Terminators are not that small. But then if we compare them to like a Croxigor from Age of Sigmar, which is huge, yeah, it just gives you an idea of just how big the Croxigors are really. Before I do a comparison with the standard Space Marines, I forgot to mention you do get this very nice teleport Homer. You could use that as an objective marker or something. It's just one piece and you just glue it onto the 25mm base. But that's a nice little feature that they've got going, and I hope we get something in the main kit too. Just a comparison with old school Terminators then. So here is one from 2004. It's literally from 2004 when I picked it up for release, and yeah, maybe the best comparison I can make is just with these two here. As you can see, they are about a head bigger now. There's less of a size increase between these as there was between normal Space Marines and Primaris. So I think you could get away with it. You could get away with using the old, because they're on the same side bases as well, you see. But I think with missile launchers as well, I think you could get away with using the old with the new. Just the poses with the new ones are better, but you know, we don't know what's coming with the dual purpose kits. One thing I will say though is proportionally, like the Stormbolter is way better. Both the holes, the ammunition, it just looks, yeah, more beefy. Power Fists, I'm not sure. I think I prefer the older Power Fists than the new ones. I think this overhang of the plate there is a bit too much. It's a bit too big. So maybe if we could have got one of those, but that size, that would have been nice. Crux Terminatus is very similar in detail. We've got the winged skull. They are missing these nice Crux Terminatus type skull belt buckle things, I want to say. But you do get some detail on the right knee pad, and in some cases you get some extra purity seals and things. So there is that, but I wanted to show a comparison with the old Terminator. I couldn't find my Alaris and Custodes Terminators in time for this review, but they will feature in a Terminator size video sometime soon to the channel, so stay tuned for that. But I was able to pick out Tartarus pattern and Cataphractii pattern Terminators from Horus Heresy, and this will really show you how small Tartarus pattern Terminator armor is. Look at that. I mean, that is a bigger difference compared to the older Terminator there. Look how big the older Terminator is compared to Tartarus. It's a fair bit bigger, probably half a head bigger, and that does make all the difference. But Tartarus looks very small, and then Cataphractii doesn't look too bad. You could maybe get away with it, especially some of the Cataphractii armored characters and things. But the best thing to get away with these new Terminators is just the old Terminators. They look very similar. They're almost the same size. You'd be fine. But these two from Horus Heresy, no, you're gonna see the difference straight away. Not just because of the pattern, but also their size. So I hope that helps. Let me just give you a comparison with the other old school Space Marines. So I've got Primaris on the right, Slime Marbo in the middle, and then the Space Marine on the left. So compared to these new ones, the old Space Marines are way smaller, and I think that's quite a nice comparison. You know, if you're using these new Terminators with your old legacy Space Marines, I think it's going to be fine. You know, they're going to stand out. They're on the same 40mm bases as the old ones. It's a good upgrade, and I think it would work quite well. Slime Marbo or any other Astra Militarum are going to be up to the chest, like with the Captain. And then the Primaris, they're very similar. I'd say the Primaris are essentially the same size as the Terminators. The Terminators just have this thicker armor. Like, they could have gone a bit bigger with these Terminators, but I'm not sure whether that would make the Primaris look too small. And why would they be a bit taller? I mean, why would they be so much taller? If anything, they're Primaris in the Terminator armor. But looking at this, it looks like it's a squeeze. I tell you that right now. If they're the same height, I mean, fair enough, this is probably one of the tallest Primaris I have because he's in that upright position. But yeah, it looks like it would be a tight squeeze anyway, having this Primaris in the Terminator armor. But what do you guys think? Do you think they should have made these Terminators a little bit bigger so that they're not, you know, on the battlefield look? There's not much to it other than the bulk and the base size. They're not going to stand out as they're not going to stand out as much as you may think, especially with the height. Okay, so this is my part of the review where I will go through all of the 10th edition rules for the Terminators. You will find them in your brand new Warhammer 40,000 app that you can get off the App Store. It's free, it's from Games Workshop, it's got all the rules and the data sheets and things like that. You'll find it there. Alternatively, it's most likely going to appear in the physical codex, which will appear a bit later on in the year. The interesting thing is if you type in Terminators into the app, you're going to get a huge number of results. Let me go through the data sheet. So you can have 1 Terminator Sergeant and 4 Terminators, so 5 in total, for 205 points. Or you can go for 1 Terminator Sergeant and 5 to 9 Terminators for 410 points. The Terminator Sergeant is equipped with Stormbolter and Power Weapon. Every Terminator is equipped with Stormbolter and Power Fist. The stat line reads as follows: a movement of 5 inches, toughness 5, save of 2+, 3 wounds, leadership 6+, and objective control 1. They do have an invulnerable save of 4+, and their ranged weaponry, they have their Stormbolters, which are rapid fire 2, it's a 24-inch range, 2 attacks, ballistic skill 3+, strength 4, AP 0, and a damage of 1. You can see here that I have also equipped one of mine with an assault cannon. It's a 24-inch range, 6 attacks, ballistic skill 3+, strength 6, AP 0, damage 1. Now, okay, it's got AP 0 and a damage 1. Not amazing, but it has a special rule called Devastating Wounds. You select that in the app, which is what I've always said would be awesome. And it says weapons with devastating wounds in their profile are known as devastating wounds weapons. Each time an attack is made with such a weapon, a critical wound inflicts a number of mortal wounds on the target equal to the damage characteristic of that weapon, and the attack sequence ends. So if you're getting a critical wound, you're inflicting number of mortal wounds equal to the damage characteristic, so that'd be 6. Melee weapons then, let's start off with the power weapon for the Sergeant. It's 4 attacks, weapon skill 3+, strength 5, AP -2, damage 1, that's fine. Then you've got a power fist, which is 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, strength 8, AP -2, damage 2. So gone are the times of potentially missing with the power fist or going last. Now you've got just straight up 3 attacks, 3+ to hit, and your strength of 8 and your AP -2 and your damage 2, which is fine. You can get a chain fist obviously, which just is harder to hit things. It's got a weapon skill of 4+, but it does have anti-vehicle 3+, which just means that unmodified wound rolls of, in this case 3+, scores critical wounds. Abilities. They have Deep Strike, which of course in the reinforcement step or one of your movement phases you can set this unit up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches horizontally away from enemy models. And they have Oath of Moment, which at the start of your command phase you select 1 unit from your opponent's army until the start of your next command phase. Each time a model from your army with this ability makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, you can reroll hit rolls and reroll wound roll. That's very nice. Also has Teleport Homer, where at the start of the battle you can set up 1 Teleport Homer token for this unit anywhere on the battlefield that is not in your opponent's deployment zone. If you do, once per battle you can target this unit with the rapid ingress stratagem for 0 command points, but when resolving that stratagem you must set this unit up wholly 3 inches horizontally of that token and not within 9 inches horizontally of any enemy tokens. That token is then removed. You've also got Fury of the First, which is a new ability. Each time a model in this unit makes an attack, you can ignore any or all modifiers to that attack's ballistic skill or weapon skill characteristic and or to the hit roll. In addition, each time a model in this unit makes an attack that targets the enemy unit you selected for the Oath of the Moment ability this turn, add 1 to the hit roll. So very juicy Terminators now with all these different abilities. They're pretty much unstoppable. You know, you can ignore the modifiers that affect them. You can add 1 to the hit rolls for the Oath of the Moment. So it's just adding, you know, more certainty to their hits and their wounds. War gear options. Every 5 Terminators in the model, for every 5 models in the unit, 1 Terminator's Stormbolter can be replaced with one of the following: an assault cannon, which mine has, heavy flamer or cyclone missile launcher, and Stormbolter. This model Stormbolter cannot be replaced, that's with the cyclone missile launcher. Any number of models can each have their power fist replaced with 1 chain fist. Keywords: infantry, Imperium, Terminator, Terminator squad. So there you go, that's my review of the brand new Terminators from the Leviathan box set. They are a staple of Space Marines, they always have been. I never thought that they'd disappear. They're featured on the front of this new Leviathan box set, so they're not going anywhere, and they've just been refreshed and renewed, and I have every faith that there will be a multi-part, multi-pose kit, including the other weapon options, coming out in the not too distant future. But what do you guys think of these Terminators as a start? Please do put your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. It'd be great to hear from you. Thank you for joining me today. Thank you for watching. The Emperor Protects.